So Wontumi ne Exim Bank case no ene Wontumi akwa kopie mu e wo court video no na etwa gu achese ono de Wontumi dididi nkomo bi e fa na afi na achese omura courtroom o ye ba the bremo achese court grante chairman Wontumi say obetumi ne attorney general ayeden a negotiate on plea bargain chairman Wontumi surrender aye a okase no crazy kan de okoje echese okoye frakadam fake receipt bi ne invoice bi a ode koje sa Exim Bank 30 million Ghana cedis nene chairman Wontumi ene ne lawyer no ekokopie mu e wo court no abusua chairman Wontumi lawyer yi afede or pa court natural say eye data court edema omo say echese enka omo ne attorney general entina negotiation table so na omo negotiate on plea bargain no osre court no ensan so extend date na odema omo no court ne ma omo by 27th July na echese omo awie eye plea bargain negotiations no na omo kokopie mu court no judge no anase chairman Wontumi sorry ne lawyer aye friend no Andy Apia Kubi eba be pie mu a opa court na chew say osre omo ntwe date no kwa ekiri ma omo na plea bargain no enye easy emfa ma omo no eye credit goes to Peter Terria live in court or court will be ono ena ebetro to ne post or posties a flyer ne babontin a or chese chairman Wontumi ne lawyer ne lawyer si patch or say entry date no enko echinte no na ya project the ato screen no enchen the amamono Wontumi's lawyers ask court for extensions of date to complete negotiations of plea bargaining. It has been given 27th July ebusuya entino CC ano chairman Wontumi ebi mo ka se omo twen 20th July 20th July in the final judgment na court na the babontin omo twen no ma hwe outcome I be free echi aba na omo hu de wa plea bargaining so no ebesi bi ayede akọ na breaking news na nkasa na ya project de ato ye screen no enchen de amamno na Addo Hanan former Bafa Stock CEO latest update on the case no abejafo atnase a chese omode ho nsem tudwa yeba ebe be breaking no ha attorney general former attorney general Godfrey Damene access omo deny no se omoma no enkonko no bet abejafo nso sanso de nkomo bi tudwa efa Addo Hanan the case no omom yenko na yenkonko tie Addo Hanan the case no ho nsensem na eba ya de aka ato amso bet chairman Wontumi ne update no ene ya project de ato ye screen no enchen de amam no mom yenko na yenkonko tie Addo Hanan de na asa na be ko Ghana na ha se open computer papa and a laptop papa na use abura Perosi computers and accessories ho and now benya laptop papa na we using the location enya ira kwan o Kumasi Bokrom Estates Eli the number and a go your screen ya 0247 030108 and 020597942 133 Perosi computers and accessories ho and now benya laptop papa na we using.
Also, comment on this matter for me because the other concern is, can the Deputy Attorney General on their own or the Attorney General's office on their own just go and arrest someone who has clearly leave from the court to travel out of the country? Should they not have gone back to the court first of all?
That's a very good question, and I must commend you for your courage to inquire. That's your job. Nobody should gag you, but. Yeah, nobody should gag her. Allow Bella to ask the questions. Allow her to ask. Allow her to ask the questions. Understand? And I must comment
when your brother is behind bars.
No, because she's asking very good questions.
When the shoe is on the wrong foot.
I recall when I became a lawyer fresh, and I went to court and. After I was being insulted heavily by the people on the other side, a labor issue. And I came back to the chamber to complain to my senior. The senior said, it means you are doing a very good job. Keep it up. So it means you are doing a very good job.
Thank you very much.
So, you see, this is a very serious issue, if you ask me. I think this issue is not about Hanan. For me, I think this issue is something bigger than Hanan himself. I think this conversation is one about our constitution and our fidelity to the constitution. understand that the MPP as they stand now, and their members, some of their members, because of the way they've handled some issues, because of the way they've shown lack of fidelity to our constitution, it is very easy to drive a narrative that seeks to hang them. But I think we ought to understand that politics is not personal, and our fidelity must always be to our constitution, irrespective of who is at the other end. And so in spite of the extent to which some members of the New Patriotic Party and the manner in which the party itself sat aloof for the government they sponsored to show lack of fidelity to our constitution, we should never deviate from our desire to continuously stay faithful to our constitution. Because in 1992, all of us came together and agreed that the best way in which we can protect our lives, our right to our lives, the best way in which we can protect our right to our liberties, the best way in which we can protect our right to pursue our own happiness is under a system that is governed by the constitution, and to adopt for ourselves a democracy which was constitutional in nature, that is limiting the powers of state. And to that end, we had a constitution that deliberately separated the powers of government and then gave to the judicial powers to make orders. I think you've nailed it. The issue is where a court has given an order, and yet the order here was not just to give leave. The court actually ordered that Hanan's passport be granted him and that he be allowed to travel for a number of days for medical checkup. Yeah. To the fact that he was going outside the country just for an eye issue. It's even an indictment on us. If politicians feel that for just their eye, they don't trust any hospital in Ghana, he has to go outside, is the problem. But that's beside the point. The point is, like you rightly said, does the AG have the powers, in spite of the clear orders of the court, you understand, to arrest Hanan? I think for me that's the issue. The reasons about whether some accounts were frozen or they were not frozen is, for me, it's neither here nor there, because I think there are also the case you mentioned is just one case, but there are also authorities that suggest that the fact that an action has been seized, yes, that does not vacate an order of the court, a freezing order of the court. The circumstances will always what's called dictate that, and the terms of the order itself. You understand? But having said that, my personal view is that where an order of the court still exists, where that order has not been vacated, you understand? Where no step has been taken to procure an order that will stay execution of that order, where that order has not been varied, then also based on the principle that justice must not only be done, it must manifestly be seen to be done. I feel that it was wrong for the AG to have taken a step Eddie took. Because like I'm saying, right now, because of the extent to which the MPP has sunk low, it's so easy to support any bid to hang them. But part of the reset agenda also includes a renewal of our commitment to our constitution. I think is a huge part of it. Because I've said here on so many times that I believe that the MPP in the past were a threat to the rule of law. Understand? Now, because of all that, I think the easiest thing for you to do right now is to sidestep the call for us to be faithful to our constitution in attack of anybody of the MPP stock. But like I'm saying, our focus always must be to stay faithful to our constitution, irrespective of who is at the end of it. Because clearly, like I'm saying, does the executive have the power? Does the executive have the power to truncate a clear order of the judiciary where steps have not been taken, like I said, to either vacate, to vary, or to stay execution? And the answer ought to be no. Ought to be no because of our general good. You understand? So for me, I see this issue more of a constitutional one, more of a call for us to show fidelity to our constitution irrespective of who. Because I understand they are going to court
today.
But as it stands, that order of the court still exists. There's still an order of the court. An order of the court that says that Hanan's passport should be released to him.
Yeah.
An order from the court that says that Hanan should be allowed to travel. I do not know. Maybe if there is, I'm sure Hamza will bring all those issues up. If there's a stay of execution, I do not know. I do not know if there's been a variation of I don't know. I don't know if there is an injunction. There is an injunction application, because you know that a notice of an injunction is as good as an injunction. So I do not know of all the steps that the AG may have taken or can take to more or less freeze or arrest this order. I do not know. But if they are, I'm sure quickly it should be communicated to us, because that impression that this executive is more or less truncating the clear powers of the judiciary does not augur well for our republic, for this democracy, and for our constitution. Because, like I said, this reset agenda must include a renewal of our commitment to our constitution. Because over the period between 2017 and 2024, a lot was done that represented driving of a dagger into the heart of our constitution. Understand? And you recall that one of the issues that we fought why we needed a reset was because of the extent to which belief or trust in our political system or in our political institution was failing because of the very terrible governance granted us during the period between 2017 and 2024. And so for me, we cannot be seen to be following that trajectory.
Yeah.
We need to be committed to our constitution, because that's the only way in which the purpose for this constitution can be met. And it shouldn't matter whether the person at the receiving end is Wontumi. It shouldn't matter whether it is what's his name, Hanan. It shouldn't matter even if it's Ken Ufuyata. At all time, our loyalty must always and only be to the constitution of this country. So
that means the constitutional rights of the person has to also be respected. In this case, you don't think that it was respected?
Because, you see, one of the critical oaths that the president took, and for me, that also represents his term of reference for his job, was an oath to be faithful to Ghana, to be faithful to the values and ideals of Ghana. It was an oath to be faithful, to uphold, defend, protect the constitution of Ghana, to dedicate himself to the well-being of all Ghanaians. And for me, that call must always be respected, irrespective of who is at the receiving end.
All right.
Very troubling. I think that respect for judicial authority and rule of law is being trampled upon by governments and agencies of government, because I am struggling to understand why this will happen. This is a man who has gone to court, appealed to the court to be granted leave to travel out of the country. The Attorney General was indeed a court, laid grounds for which, if the gentleman had met, they would not have issues with him traveling. Indeed, these three grounds he raised were all met by Mr. Hanan, and indeed the court went on to grant him the opportunity to travel. This is a man who is not well. This is a man who is supposed to meet his optician today. And this is the man who today is behind BNI cell bars. Why must this happen? The excuse from the Attorney General is that he decided to take money from a frozen account. Maybe my colleagues on the table will help me understand how that is possible. That somebody can take money from a frozen account. Granted, that was the case. Is arresting him, when did this happen? So let me start from, when did that happen?
When did what exactly happen?
The supposed attempt to take money from a frozen account. When did it happen? Why was there no action? Because bear in mind, he was traveling on a Saturday, and this supposed attempt couldn't have happened on a weekend. if indeed it happened. It would have happened during the week. They did not take any action. The man was in town. They did not arrest him. Only waited for him to get to the airport at the time he's traveling out of the country, and he's arrested.
So it says here, per the Deputy Attorney General's post, that it was, however, Mr. Ludibes's attempt to use false means to empty his frozen bank account with Republic Bank on Thursday, which occasioned Saturday night's arrest.
That makes my point. This happened on Thursday. So at what point did they come to the notice of the Attorney General? When? I think Godfrey Dame has challenged them to adduce evidence to back the claim that indeed Hanan attempted to take monies or to withdraw money from the frozen account. We are yet to get the evidence from the Attorney General. So on that score, I will side with what the lawyers for Hanan are saying, because indeed there has not been any evidence to back that claim.
Well, the Attorney General is going to court today, we're told, to seek a review of the court order. And so maybe they would have used that evidence to the court. Is that not where the evidence should be presented?
So what was the point in arresting him? There's a man who has been given permission by the court to travel. The permission that was given by the court, it was not to say that he was going to be away outside the country the rest of his life. He was just going to the hospital and return back to continue the case.
Yeah, I think from the 4th to the 7th.
Yes.
That was the period he was.
And here, the Attorney General says you cannot go. The evidence has not been given. Bear in mind, and I think the soundbite you played, Godfrey Dame talked about it, that there was a court ruling that said that, well, because you have discontinued the case and you have now brought fresh charges, all assets that were frozen, you have to come back to court, seek permission of the court to freeze those assets. Has that been done? It has not been done. So what was the authority on which they said that he was going into an account that was frozen? How was the account frozen? If you've not gone back to court, because you cannot rely on the previous action you took because you decided to discontinue the case. And now you are going to rely on that to say that because of it, he cannot travel. So one, there's no evidence to back the claim that indeed Hanan was attempting to withdraw money from the account.
If evidence is eventually adduced,
it has not been.
Would you retract that statement that...
I said, as we speak, we do not have any evidence.
If it is provided.
Even if there is evidence, the question is, on what authority is the Attorney General saying that he cannot access the account? Because there's a ruling of the High Court, which I have a copy here. There's a ruling of the High Court that says that if you want to freeze his assets, you have to come back, because the assets you froze at the time was as part of the process of the first action you took against him in court, which the Attorney General decided, without nobody forcing him, decided to discontinue and start the case afresh. So what was the point? You know what? We are setting a very bad precedent in this country. And I believe that all of us as Ghanaians must watch this. Because today, it is Abdul Hanan. Tomorrow, it could be any other person. Recently, there was something very profound that was said by two cabinet ministers. And I believe maybe the Attorney General should take a cue from that. It was a statement that was made by the Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. And then also a statement that was made by the Minister for Interior.
What did they say?
They said that this whole idea of giving people bail condition of 500,000, 500 million, 300 million, a bail condition, you may have to sell your entire community before you can raise. You may have to sell your entire community. And if your community is just like mine, maybe your entire community may not be able to even raise that amount of money. Government should watch it, and we must stop it. We are gradually finding every means possible to punish people even before the court pronounced them guilty of an offense. as we speak, Hanan, we've only charged him. He should have his rights and liberties to travel when he wishes to travel. So if the person who has a right to travel indeed has gone to the court and the court says, yes, you can travel, and nicodemously, government officials decide to frustrate him, take him to BNICL and say that it's even weekend, so your lawyers can't even have access to you.
When you say Nicodemus, they have given a reason why they arrested him. And you see, when I read,
the reason is not backed with any evidence.
I'm just sampling opinions on even our Facebook page. And across the board, a number of people are saying that, what if we get a replay of the Ken Oforiatta incidents where he says he was going for healthcare, you know, he needed to see a doctor badly, he went, didn't come back, kept giving excuses, and now we're told that his green card application has been granted. What if that happened to Hanan as well, which is what the Attorney General's office was trying to stop?
If that is the position, then going forward, anyone who is suspected of a crime, we should lock the person up because the person could run away. If that is the position, that the mere fact that there is a court action against you, you are not supposed to, you are not at liberty to your freedoms as an individual, then we should lock them up. That is not the law. The law says you are presumed innocent until a competent court has pronounced you guilty of an offense. Has the court pronounced Hanan guilty of any offense? The answer is no. He has a right as an individual. The mere fact that you've been charged does not mean that you are guilty of an offense. And you have every right. Wait a minute.
Nobody has proclaimed guilt on him necessarily.
So why take away his right to travel?
Why take it away?
Yes.
Well, let's wait and see if there'll be evidence adduced.
You know what?
To indicate
you
that
are
really
pushing a very dangerous argument, and I do not want you to push this argument.
Who is pushing that argument?
You.
I'm asking questions.
No,
I'm not pushing any arguments
you are pushing that argument.
I'm not advancing any arguments. I'm asking you questions.
And I have answered
which is my job on this
I have answered
I have every right to borrow into whatever statement you say
I have answered it, but
which is what I'm doing.
You are still pushing
so
the same
don't put out
argument.
the narrative that I'm pushing an argument. I'm asking you a question, and I did say I predicated my statement by saying I'm sampling opinions from people.
There has not been any evidence. So stop. Let us not get into the conversation.
Fifi, hold on.
If we should bring that evidence,
let's have a very friendly conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will not accept if you say I am advancing an argument, because I'm not here to advance arguments.
That's how it sounds to me.
I'm here to make inquiries, to ask questions. And if you make a statement, I have every right to ask you questions following that.
Okay.
Now, I did mention that based on opinions, even on our Facebook page alone, there are concerns that if he had left, maybe we could have seen a replay of Ken Oforiatta's case, which is why they thought, or some people are thinking, that maybe it was right for him to be arrested. But at the same time, we also have a statement from the Deputy Attorney General who says that it's because of A, B, C, and D that he was arrested. I'm asking that if that evidence is provided, will that change your stance on the matter? How is that an advancement of an argument?
I have made the point, and you keep bringing back the conditional statement that if that is the case. And I'm saying that we are not supposed to get into a point of conjecture. We are not there yet. Tomorrow, if the Attorney General produces evidence, we can have that conversation.
Okay.
On this table, we do not have any such evidence from the Attorney General.
Okay.
And that is the premise I want us to proceed.
Let me bring
And I am only saying that it is also dangerous that we allow conditional situations to inform our decision going forward. Because if that is the case, then I could also assume that, okay, tomorrow, Hamza may do this. So because of that, his liberty as an individual must be taken away from him. And I think that is a dangerous precedent we should not entertain in this country.
All right.
So Abuja, we ne ensma a course so our political highway. So Abdul Hanan, there is much interesting moment. I had Chairman Wontumi. You better answer about breaking the latest update. Ha edi amama. You better say some of Japan koko tisa and some way edi my aha. Gossip politics TV. So me say.